You have been dreaming of having a beautiful body for a long time. But you always keep skipping the things you should do to achieve that dream. How can you stop procrastinating? This is not just another video on procrastination, repeating common advice like setting goals, breaking tasks into smaller pieces, setting specific deadlines, and being strict with yourself. We will delve deeper into the reasons behind procrastination and provide you with a scientific guide on how to overcome it. Can you relate to the following scenarios? You've been wanting to lose weight for a while now, and despite making multiple New Year's resolutions about it, you haven't seen any progress. You've got a looming deadline, but instead of buckling down and getting your work done, you're busy goofing off, checking emails, endlessly scrolling through social media, and getting lost in the captivating world of funny cat videos. You know you should be working, but that motivation seems to be on an extended vacation. Because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, here comes the pains and regrets, and now you're feeling stressed. You want to change, but it's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube with your eyes closed, no clue where to start. Time to break free from this stressful habit and figure out a game plan. Watch this until the end. You'll discover the science behind why we procrastinate and how to stop it. You will also learn about the concept of present self and your future self. You will learn how can you accomplish something without needing to torture yourself, like being too strict with a diet plan that eventually leads to quitting. What is procrastination? It is the act of delaying or postponing a task or set of tasks. It is the force that prevents you from following through on what you set out to do. Why do we procrastinate? What is going on in the brain that causes us to avoid the things we know we should be doing? Research in behavioral psychology has uncovered a fascinating phenomenon known as time inconsistency, which sheds light on why procrastination often manages to lure us in, even when we have the best of intentions. What does time inconsistency mean? It refers to the tendency of the human brain to value immediate rewards more highly than future rewards. To grasp this concept effectively, it helps to envision yourself having two distinct identities, your present self and your future self. When you establish personal goals such as weight loss, writing a book, or learning a language, you are essentially making plans for your future self. These aspirations reflect the vision of the life you desire in the future. Researchers have discovered that when you contemplate your future self, your brain readily recognizes the value of taking actions that yield long-term benefits. The future self prioritizes long-term rewards. But here's the real problem that we are all guilty of. While the future self can set goals, only the present self can take action. When the time comes to make a decision, you are no longer making a choice for your future self. Now you are in the present moment, and your brain is thinking about the present self. Researchers have discovered that the present self really likes instant gratification, not long-term payoff. Here's the conflict between the two identities. The future self wants to be trim and fit, but the present self wants a donut. You know that you shouldn't eat sweets if you want to lose weight. But why do you still do it? Here's the answer. Everyone knows you should eat healthy today to avoid being overweight in 10 years. But consequences like an increased risk for diabetes or heart failure are years away. Let's make another example. Many young people know that saving for retirement in their 20s and 30s is crucial, but the benefit of doing so is decades off. It is far easier for the present self to see the value in buying a new pair of shoes than in socking away $100 for 70-year-old you. What's the real reason of all of these? Because your brain values long-term benefits when they are in the future or tomorrow, but it values immediate gratification when it comes to the present moment or today. The question now is this: what's our strategy to prevent this? The present self cannot be motivated solely by long-term consequences and rewards. Instead, a strategy is needed to bring future rewards and punishments into the present moment. The goal is to transform future consequences into immediate consequences. For example, let's say you have a report to write. You've known about it for weeks and continued to put it off day after day. You experience a little bit of nagging pain and anxiety thinking about this paper you have to write, but not enough to do anything about it. Then, suddenly, the day before the deadline, the future consequences turn into present consequences, and you write that report hours before it is due. The pain of procrastinating finally escalated and you crossed the action line. As soon as you cross the action line, the pain begins to subside. In fact, being in the middle of procrastination is often more painful than being in the middle of doing the work. Point A is often more painful than point B. The guilt, shame, and anxiety that you feel while procrastinating are usually worse than the effort and energy you have to put in while you're working. The problem is not doing the work, it's starting the work. If we want to stop procrastinating, then we need to make it as easy as possible for the present self to get started and trust that motivation and momentum will come after we begin. Now the question is, how to stop procrastinating right now? Here are 4 strategies you can employ to stop procrastinating. Number 1. Make the rewards of taking action more immediate. One of the best ways to bring future rewards into the present moment is with a strategy known as temptation bundling. Temptation bundling is a concept that came out of behavioral economics research performed by Katie Milkman at the University of Pennsylvania. The strategy suggests that you bundle a behavior that is good for you in the long run with a behavior that feels good in the short run. Here are a few common examples of temptation bundling. Only listen to audiobooks or podcasts you love while exercising. Only get a pedicure while processing overdue work emails. Only watch your favorite show while ironing or doing household chores. Only eat at your favorite restaurant when conducting your monthly meeting with a difficult colleague. Number 2. Make the consequences of procrastination more immediate. If you are exercising alone, skipping your workout next week won't impact your life much at all. Your health won't deteriorate immediately because you missed that one workout. The cost of procrastinating on exercise only becomes painful after weeks and months of lazy behavior. However, if you commit to working out with a friend at 7 a.m., then the cost of skipping your workout becomes more immediate. Miss this one workout and you look like a jerk. Number 3. Design your future actions. One of the favorite tools psychologists use to overcome procrastination is called a commitment device. Commitment devices can help you stop procrastinating by designing your future actions ahead of time. For example, you can curb your future eating habits by purchasing food in individual packages rather than in the bulk size. You can stop wasting time on your phone by deleting games or social media apps. You can voluntarily ask to be added to the banned list at casinos and online gambling sites to prevent future gambling sprees. You can build an emergency fund by setting up an automatic transfer of funds to your savings account. Number 4. Make the task more achievable. Reduce the size of your habits because if your habits are small and easy to start, then you will be less likely to procrastinate. One quote said, "Make it so easy you can't say no," Leo Babauta. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The idea is to make it as easy as possible to get started and then trust that momentum will carry you further into the task after you begin. Once you start doing something, it's easier to continue doing it. For example, consider the remarkable productivity of the famous writer Anthony Trollope. He published 47 novels, 18 works of non-fiction, 12 short stories, 2 plays, and an assortment of articles and letters. How did he do it? Instead of measuring his progress based on the completion of chapters or books, Trollope measured his progress in 15-minute increments. He set a goal of 250 words every 15 minutes and he continued this pattern for 3 hours each day. This approach allowed him to enjoy feelings of satisfaction and accomplishment every 15 minutes while continuing to work on the large task of writing a book. Making your tasks more achievable is important for 2 reasons. 1. Small measures of progress help to maintain momentum over the long run, which means you're more likely to finish large tasks. 2. The faster you complete a productive task, the more quickly your day develops an attitude of productivity and effectiveness. Another effective way to stop procrastination is using the power of decision elimination. Making decisions over and over again will drain your willpower. This is true even if it's the same, tiny decision, like constantly resisting the urge to check your email. Another example is continually trying to follow a new, strict diet. You might be able to resist for 5 minutes or an hour or maybe even a week, but eventually, your willpower will begin to fade and you'll give in. This brings us to an important point: constraints can make it easier to stick to good habits by eliminating the number of decisions you need to make to move forward. People often say that they want options. When it comes to getting things done, however, options aren't always a good thing. When everything is a possibility, it actually becomes harder to make the right choice, or any choice at all. This is the paradox of choice. When we place a constraint on ourselves, it can become much easier to get something done. This is especially true if it is a constraint that forces us to start small. For example, if you want to start exercising, set a rule for yourself where you are not allowed to exercise for more than 5 minutes. You have to stop exercising after 5 minutes. If you want to eat more vegetables, you could limit yourself to only one type of vegetable this week. By limiting the number of choices you have to make, it's more likely that you'll actually eat something healthy rather than get overwhelmed trying to figure out all of the details of the perfect diet. While we often desire an open road with endless possibilities, there are times when what we truly need is a tunnel that narrows our choices and guides us towards a focused direction. And that concludes this video. I want to leave you with a powerful message. Action, not motivation, is often the driving force behind progress. By simply getting started, even with tiny steps, you ignite a spark of active inspiration that propels you forward with natural momentum. Remember, action breeds motivation.